Welcome back, my friends. We're here in Domain 6, Task 5. Again, we're talking about issues and risks. This one's titled Communicate Risks and Issues. Let's take a look at what it says. So what exactly are we trying to do? Communicate status of threats and issues. In the last task, we talked about JIRA and Rally, and Roy mentioned all sorts of reports and great stuff. Well, this is pretty much where we would use those tools to report on the status of these risks and issues. How are we going to communicate status? By maintaining a threat list, which is a fancy word for list of risks, and incorporating activities into backlog of work. And why do we do this? To provide transparency. You can also say to enable additional accountability. But let's talk about the real world application of this thought, communicate risks and issues. Is this done in any particular event? Is this just on the information radiator? How does this work?
Yeah, we want this to be in the radiators, meaning that this information is 24/7 available. I don't need to have a meeting for it. Anyone should be able to see it at all times. So if someone's interested in what risks exist, they can go to the tool and go take a look at it immediately and get that information. And they should be able to see from that radiator, who's working on it, what actions are being taken, what's the status? Do they need me? Those kinds of things, right? That should be available 24/7, not coming out of a status report. Although we know how it works, typically senior leaders don't want to go into a tool and they expect to get a status meeting to give them updates. I personally, if I was in that boat, I would rather go to the tool than sit in a half-hour meeting having someone read to me, right? That's just me. But the basic goal here is make it available 24/7, teach our leaders to read the tool. When you give these updates, take them to the tool to show them the dashboards, so that you are giving them status from the tool and not copied out separately into a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint. Okay. I love PowerPoint. I use it all the time, and we use it all the time, right, Phill? But it has no place in status reporting. Get your information out of the tool and stop the PowerPoint, the death by PowerPoint, right?
Stop the death by PowerPoint. That's pretty much it for this. Let's go back and review everything at a 40,000 foot view, because I think we've really got the essence of this. Like Roy said in the beginning, it's really all about transparency. We want to bring these things to the surface, and we want to wholeheartedly pursue them, vehemently pursue them so they don't eat us alive. Like Roy said, these risks are impediments waiting to happen. So be proactive about it. That's pretty much the mantra. Any final thoughts about this, Roy?
You pretty well summed it up there, Phill. Be proactive, identify them, do something about them, make them visible, take ownership, and focus on resolving impediments. Don't just put them on a list and say, well, we'll get back to it eventually when somebody solves this for us. Go do something. That's the key, right?
Lovely. All right, that concludes Domain 6. One domain left.